up, YouTubers? It's Harpy189 and the voices in my head coming at you from the Duelist Den. I'm sure by now all of you have heard that the new ban list is finally out and it goes into effect on May 21st. What we're going to be discussing today is how the ban list is going to affect the meta in the game right now. So before we do anything else, first we need to go over the cards that got hit and came off of the list. So let's start with the banned cards. We have Astrograph Sorcerer, Masterpiece, the True Draco Slaying King, Phoenician Cluster Amaryllis, Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom, Ancient Fairy Dragon, Rank Up Magic Argent Chaos Force, and That Grass Looks Greener. For limited cards, we have Dynamite Knight, the True Draco Fire, Gem Knight Master Diamond, and Chain Strike. For semi-limits, we have Cleafort Towers and Ring of Destruction. And unlimited, we now have Atlantean Dragoons, Grand Soil the Elemental Lord, Ignis Heat the True Draco Warrior, Mathematician, Neospacian Grand Mole, and Compulsory Evacuation Device. So we already see 3 of the top decks got hit. Pendulum Magicians lost Astrograph Sorcerer and Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. Now with these 2 hits, the deck could very well be dead, but it is really a coin toss at this point as they do still have access to 3 copies of Electromite. So even though the deck is going to be severely slowed down, we could see this deck still making a huge impact in the meta. Maybe not as a tier 1 deck, but possibly as a tier 2 deck. We could still see this a lot more than people think. Next up, we have Dracos. Now, Masterpiece did get the ban hammer, but they do still have access to their field spell, and Dynamite Knight got bumped from ban to limited. Furthermore, Ignis Heat got bumped from limited to unlimited. So even though they don't have access to Masterpiece, True Dracos could still be a very possible threat going into the future. As for the 60-card Lightsworn variants, they no longer have access to That Grass Looks Greener, which is really severely going to slow the deck down. So we could still see a few 60-card variants out there, but personally, I feel that people are going to be running Lightsworns. They're going to be leaning back down towards the under 50-card variants of the deck, possibly 40 to 45 cards at most, if they are still going to be playing Lightsworns. But we could still see a lot of 60-card Lightsworn variants out there as well. So we go on to some of the cards that are limited. We did see Gem Knight Master Diamond get put on the limited list. There is that whole Gem Knight FTK, which you really only see every once in a blue moon, at least from what I can tell. Personally, I think if they were going to hit a Gem Knight card, they should have hit Seraphonite because of the whole Brilliant Engine being run in a lot of decks. We also see Ancient Fairy Dragon got the ban hammer, which is really going to hurt a lot of people who run Destrudo in their decks. So we could see Destrudo kind of being phased out of decks at this point because people don't have access to Ancient Fairy Dragon anymore. We also have Chain Strike down to limited. I think this was just a little slap on the wrist to Trickstars, but on that same note, we did get Ring of Destruction up to 2, which could help Trickstars even more. Now, a lot of people are probably going to start complaining that Trickstars didn't get touched, but we also have to consider the fact that Flames of Destruction was just released, and Trickstars got a ton of new support in that set. So obviously, Konami wasn't going to hit Trickstars. Now we move on to the stuff that got unbanned. We see Atlantean Dragoon, so we could see a little bit of a rise with Mermaid players. We have Grand Soul the Elemental Lord banned to unlimited. This, I feel, was because of the Element Saber archetype that was just released in Flames of Destruction. Not going to do you any good to release this whole brand new archetype and not give it one of its best cards. We also see Compulsory Evacuation Device bumped up to 3 as well. So we might see Compulse run in a lot more decks now that you have access to more copies of it. So going forward, like I said, Flames of Destruction was just released. I feel that the top decks are obviously going to be Trickstars. We may see Element Sabers making some top cuts as well. We also have the Nightmare cards that just came out that a lot of people are taking into a lot of stuff. I've seen Goki Nightmares. I've seen ABC Nightmares. I'm running Nightmares in my Harpy deck. So Nightmares are just one of those engines that we can see teched in a lot of things going forward. So we could see a power creep of a lot of these decks as well, combined with the hits on the ban list. But that's just my own personal opinions on the matter. I will be doing a top 5 meta decks going forward here within the next couple of days, but I want to know what you guys think about this ban list, how you think it's going to affect the meta, and what decks could see a rise going into the future down in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, it's Harpy189 and the voices in my head. Just wanted to say Yu-Gi-Oh is not just a game, Yu-Gi-Oh is life.